This was my first time meeting my grandfather.
Hoi Großvater.
Das ist Heidi, euer Großkind.
But he didn't seem to like me at all.
Mach, dass du fortkommst!
And my aunt had left me here.
Das Kind! Nimm das Kind mit! Los, geh mit dir!
Aber sie will mich doch auch nicht.
Grandfather showed no sympathy. He simply shut the door on me.
Großvater?
He ignored me. I became a homeless orphan. So, I had no choice but to open the sheep pen and sleep with the flock. The next morning, my grandfather came to milk the sheep.
Guten Morgen, Großvater.
Although he still didn't acknowledge me. He gave me a bowl of fresh sheep's milk. After I drank it, Grandfather said he was going to send me away. At the church, the priest checked my health. I was perfectly healthy. The priest promised to arrange for someone to adopt me in 3 days. But for those 3 days, I would have to live with my grandfather back home. I asked Grandfather where I would sleep that night. He said I could sleep anywhere I wanted. I was happy and entered the house. But the room only had one bed. I climbed up to the attic and found a layer of hay. It seemed like a place where I could sleep.
Da will ich schlafen, Großvater, mit dem Heu, darf ich?
My parents passed away when I was young. I didn't know why my relatives disliked me so much, but deep down, I really wanted to be with my family. The next day, Peter came to the mountaintop to herd sheep. I wanted to play too. Grandfather told me to drink my sheep's milk first before going to play. The sun in the Alps was warm. The scenery here was beautiful. I loved everything about it. Suddenly, 2 goats started fighting. Peter raised his whip to strike them. I didn't want to see the goats hurt, so I stopped Peter. I promised to share half of my lunch with him afterward. Peter agreed to this, but he asked me not to tell Grandfather because he had heard that Grandfather was a murderer. When I got home, I felt scared. So, I decided to sleep in the sheep pen from now on. Grandfather quickly realized that Peter had told me certain stories. He explained that he was not a criminal.
Du musst selber entscheiden, ob du deinen eigenen Augen und Ohren traust oder dem Gewäsch der Leute.
After some time thinking it over, I realized that Grandfather wasn't bad. In fact, he was very kind. So, I chose to trust him.
Gute Nacht, Großvater.
Time passed quickly. Tomorrow, I will be sent away by the priest. Peter was just worried that he wouldn't get any of my lunch anymore, but I knew he also didn't want me to leave. That evening, I came home and saw a new chair in the house. I carefully asked Grandfather if it was meant for me.
Für wen denn sonst?
Aber du bringst mich doch morgen weg.
Morgen gehst du wieder auf die Alm.
Und dann am nächsten Tag auch wieder?
Ja, ja.
I was happy that Grandfather accepted me. This was the first time I had a real home. Soon, autumn came. Peter told me he was going to start school and wouldn't be able to play with me until the next year's holidays. I didn't want to lose my friend. I also wanted to go to school, but Grandfather didn't agree. He said I was too young and that being alone down the mountain might be dangerous. Soon, winter came and I had no friends. I spent every day at home. Grandfather noticed my sadness. So, he made a sled. He took me outside to ski. Though it was cold outside, it was the happiest moment I had. Grandfather took me down the mountain. I went to find Peter to play, and I had a wonderful day. Finally, the cold winter passed, and my aunt, who had abandoned me, suddenly came back. Grandfather hated this woman. So, he immediately kicked her out. But she didn't leave. Instead, she found me on the mountain. She said she had found me a new home, and Grandfather wanted me to leave. At that time, I was too young to realize that everything my aunt said was a lie. She took me down the mountain, and from that moment on, I was separated from Grandfather. I didn't even get to say goodbye. My aunt brought me to a big city. The family that adopted me was very wealthy. The house was filled with luxurious furniture I had never seen before. I was brought here to become friends with the lady of the house, Clara. She couldn't walk, so I pushed her around to show her the house. But while I was pushing her, I accidentally knocked over a table. The housekeeper heard the noise and came to check, and Clara said she had accidentally knocked the table over. She was so kind. I really appreciated her. Since I had never received any etiquette training, my rough behavior was often criticized by the housekeeper. At mealtime, when bread was served, it was the softest and most fragrant bread I had ever seen. So, every day, I would secretly hide a piece of bread and bring it home to Peter and Grandfather. Slowly, I adapted to life here, but I also grew more homesick. I asked the male housekeeper to open the window for me, but I realized that I couldn't see the Alps from here. The housekeeper suggested I go to the highest tower in the city, but when I reached the top, I saw that even there I couldn't see the mountains. That's when I realized I had come very far from home. And because I took Clara out without permission, the housekeeper punished me. After dinner, I took off my beautiful dress. I wanted to go home and be with grandfather. I said goodbye to Clara, but the housekeeper stopped me from leaving. It was then that I realized my aunt had sold me here. She didn't care about family. She only cared about money. Clara also felt very sad. She thought I was leaving because I hated her. But the truth was, I missed grandfather too much. I even called out for him in my sleep. The next morning, Clara didn't come for breakfast. I knew she was still upset, so I tried to comfort her, and she asked me to never leave this place. After that, we returned to our normal life. Clara's father finally came back, and the housekeeper immediately reported to him. She thought I was mischievous and stupid, and that staying here would only affect Clara. Clara's father was considering whether to send me away. One evening, Clara's grandmother told me a story. It was about a little lamb that got lost on the mountain, and snow started to fall. I happily said that Peter and I had lost sheep before.
Da, wo du herkommst, das ist sicher sehr anders.
When I heard about my hometown, I felt silent. I didn't dare to admit how much I wanted to go home. I wanted to know what happened next in the story, but grandmother told me to study hard and read the rest of the story myself.
Wenn du jetzt lesen könntest, dann wüsstest du, wie die Geschichte weitergeht.
After some time of studying, I really could read by myself. Everyone noticed my progress, and they agreed I could stay here.
Soll sie auch bei uns bleiben?
Für immer?
Ja, mein Kind, für immer.
But I didn't feel happy. The doctor saw through my thoughts.
Vermisst wohl dein Zuhause, meine kleine Heidi, hm? Na, komm. Na. Wird alles gut.
He told Clara's father about my situation, and now he had to choose between sending me home or letting Clara lose her friend. The next day, he told Clara that I missed my hometown, and he had decided to send me back, but Clara didn't want to live alone anymore.
Was soll ich denn ohne Heidi?
Es muss leider sein. Heidis Krankheit heilt nur, wenn sie...
Aber ich will, dass sie hier bleibt!
Clara.
Ich bin auch krank und ganz alleine! Geh nur! Geht zu den Ölen und Peter! Geht doch alle! Tinette, bring mich sofort in mein Zimmer!
I wanted to say goodbye to Clara, but she didn't want to see me anymore. I knew she was very sad at that moment. So, before leaving, I gave Clara a wooden sculpture as a keepsake of our friendship.
Wir werden sehen.
The housekeeper took me back home. I was finally back in the familiar place. I rushed to see Peter again. After giving them the bread, I immediately headed up the mountain. I couldn't wait to see grandfather again. Everything here was so familiar. I was living freely again. Soon, winter came, and I was old enough to start school. In class, the teacher asked what everyone's dreams were. Some wanted to be blacksmiths, some wanted to be farmers. But I was the only one who said I wanted to become a writer. But my answer was met with laughter from the others. In the following days, I kept writing letters to Clara, hoping she could come here and visit. When Clara received the letter, she also wanted to see me again. And so, her grandmother really brought her to the Alps. I saw her again. We played together happily, living a free life. And this life, which Clara had never experienced before, made her feel very happy. The beautiful scenery here was something she had never seen in the city. Everything looked so wonderful. Then, a butterfly flew to her feet. She instinctively reached out to catch it, and a miracle happened right then. Clara! She managed to stand up. Soon after, Clara's father arrived, and when he saw Clara standing alone, he was completely shocked.
Papa! Kind. Du läufst. Verzeih mir bitte.
When they left, grandmother gave me a gift. It was a notebook. Grandmother told me to fill the notebook with stories. I took the pen. Looking at the Alps, with sunshine and fresh air, I knew I would always live freely and happily here.